Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's episode 148 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm Tom Antion and I'll be with you today like every day. Let's see, today we're talking about advisory boards. Now this is something you can implement in your business to accelerate your success. I just started one and I'm going to tell you about it in a minute. Now the last episode was 147 is Terry Brock, who's a technology expert who's helped tens of thousands of people around the world, and he shared the stage with one of the richest men in the world. Now, I got a big freebie to thank you for listening to the podcast. It's my $27 ebook, How to Automate Your Business. And just one of the tips in this ebook has saved me over 7.5 million keystrokes, and certainly saved me carpal tunnel too, I'm sure. And I've got another little special gift for you over there too. Check it out at screwthecommute.com/automate free. Screwthecommute.com/automate free. And don't forget to pick up a copy of our podcast app for your cell phone or tablet at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. We've got complete instructions to show you how to use all the fancy features so you can take us with you on the road. And also, I'm sure you know somebody that is either wants to start a business or is interested in starting a business, or, well, they already have a business and they're struggling and they want to improve it. This is the podcast for them. Tell them to check it out at screwthecommute.com, or they can get it at iTunes or any of the major podcast directories that they like. All right. Did I ever tell you about how I turned the internet marketing world on its head around the year 2000, or I like to say the turn of the century? Well, people at my level at that time were charging $50,000 or $100,000 up front to teach what we knew to kind of clueless business people who refused to learn it on their own. So I'm a small business advocate, and I knew many small businesses could never afford that kind of upfront money. So I made all the gurus mad by charging a relatively small entry fee to my program, but I also got a percentage of profits. But here's the thing, it was capped, so you're not stuck with me forever. So for me to get my big money, you got to make way bigger money, and then you're an expert and you're on your way, and you're not stuck with me all the time. All right. And another big thing is, once those people got their big money up front, why would they, there's no incentive for them to kill themselves to help you. Well, with me, you've got, I'm not going to disappear on you because I won't get my money. Right? So it's a really great program. It's the longest running, most successful ever on this topic in the internet, on internet marketing. We got the full details at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And of course, that'll be in the show notes, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And I took it further even. I've got this gorgeous retreat center where you spend an immersion weekend as part of your year-long program. And you get a scholarship to my school that you can either use yourself or gift to somebody. So it's got massive benefits. So check it out when you can at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. But don't wait too long. Every day that goes by, you could be making a whole lot of money online. All right, let's get to the main event, advisory boards. Now, the one difference this episode is going to have as opposed to my other Monday training sessions is that normally my training sessions is about something that has either made me or saved me a lot of money over a long period of time. This episode is different in that I'm right in the middle of implementing the idea that you're going to hear today, and I haven't made any money on it yet. However, I expect to, and it's a good, solid idea used by many small businesses. Now, the reason an advisory board came about is because of my school. It was the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. And even though it says Virginia, it's a distance learning school, so you can be anywhere in the world and still take classes anytime, day or night. It's at imtcva.org. Of course, that'll be in the show notes. Now, I've been running it for quite a few years, but recently the school got approved by the Department of Defense to be in a military spouse scholarship program. Now, even though I've helped lots of military people, I was kind of getting the cold shoulder from military spouse podcasts because I was not one of them. And of course, I wasn't allowed in military spouse Facebook groups and places like that. Now, you can see the military page at I'm sorry, made a mistake. I wrote down screwthecommute.com. No, it's at imtcva.org, and click on military. So what I did is I put an email out to my list asking for help. And some highly qualified people responded that I've helped tremendously over many years. Heck, I didn't even know many of them had a military background. See, I thought these people, if they would agree to help me, they would be not only helping me reach the military spouse market so that those people could hear about the scholarship, but they would also be doing great things for military families. So I started to think about how I could formalize my relationship with these wonderful people, and immediately having a board of directors came to mind. The hang up was that I didn't really want to make it so formal that I would scare these people off. See, an actual board of directors has legal liability and would require insurance and a formal agreement that would hold up in court if necessary, and most likely require a significant payment for the people to be on the board. That's when I started researching advisory boards. See, basically, I just bought a book on it. I bought a Kindle book on it. And let me give you the title because I really want you to get this book. Built to Scale: How Top Companies Create Breakthrough Growth Through Exceptional Advisory Boards. And it's by Marissa Levin. Now, Built to Scale, or the scale part of that in the title, stands for select, compensate, associate, leverage, and evaluate or evolve. And I'm not going to go into each of these sections, what they're about, because you can always buy her Kindle book for the deep details. But I will tell you some of the highlights and what I expect to accomplish with this board. Now, having the right people on the board is critical. Now, these people would not necessarily be friends. They must be picked on the basis of what they can bring to help the organization meet the mission of the organization or of the board. All right, so before we get into talking about the people, let's talk about why you want or need a board in the first place. Now, you have to ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to crack a market that hasn't been available to you? Are you a little shaky on business operations and would like to have some more experienced entrepreneurs on your team? I mean, are you trying to go international and need assistance of a native of a particular country? I mean, whatever it is, an advisory board may be the ticket to, as Ms. Levin says, breakthrough growth. And that's what I'm expecting for that division of my school once we get rolling with this. Now, to have a good direction to start, I created a tentative mission statement. Now, I called it tentative because I had not yet had any input from the advisory board and the changes they felt that would be appropriate. So here was my first stab at it before one of the board members got a hold of it. All right, so here it is. To create and implement a marketing plan to get the word out to military spouses about the MyCAA scholarship program. That's the one for the Department of Defense, folks. and to help applicants through the process within the boundaries set by the My CAA program. And then one of the board members asked me, "Hey, Tom, have you considered first responders and law enforcement?" Well, this led to the evolution of the mission statement, which board members are still tweaking, I might add. We just had our first meeting. So here's the current version. To create and implement a marketing plan to get the word out to first responders and law enforcement personnel about the opportunities our school presents, and to inform and assist military spouses in using the My CAA scholarship program. So it evolved already in the first meeting. All right, so you don't have to be carved in stone right off the bat to get this going. All right, let's talk about choosing members for your advisory board. So how do you pick a good board member? Now, I'm really sorry I can't remember who told me this, but he or she said, only take advice from someone whose past is your future. All right, so someone's actually done what you're trying to do. So your advisory board members must have certain traits, or you're really asking for trouble, or at the very least, you'll be frustrated if they don't have these traits. Now, here's a couple of ones that I look for. Enthusiasm to help is really important. However, all right, enthusiasm to help without actually helping means you have recruited an excited, do-nothing person who will not help you achieve your goals. And they're harder to get rid of because they're so enthusiastic and probably nice and friendly. You'll feel bad kicking them off the board. So enthusiasm is important, but it must be coupled with action. Next, a board member should have an influence and credibility because of who they are. Maybe they have a big email list. Maybe they have an enormous and engaged social media following. Maybe, in my case, they are a military spouse or a veteran or an active duty person who can get to places on my behalf. Heck, it's always better to have someone highly trusted in your target market vouching for you than you vouching for yourself. Next is reliability. If they tell you something, you want to be able to depend on it, especially with deadlines and when you can expect what they promise to do to actually be done. You don't want to get a bad reputation of promising something and then you can't deliver because they didn't deliver to you. And now let's talk about thank yous and paybacks. Even though some people would be happy to volunteer to support your cause or business, I always want to make sure they know how much I appreciate them. So I'm providing things of value to them instead of cash. In my case, I give them a scholarship to the school that they can either gift to someone or use themselves. I offered to be their advisor on internet-related things or public and professional speaking and entrepreneurship topics. And even though this is not technically a gift, I told them they could get big affiliate commissions for promoting me and my stuff. The only thing I am prohibited of incentivizing or giving a commission on is the Department of Defense Military Spouse Scholarship Program. That's the DoD rules. I can't do it. I can't give commissions or incentivize people. But everything else I can. So, whenever possible, try to see what you can help them with. When this division of the school gets profitable, I also offered to add some cash to the deal for their time. All right. You got to have an agreement, even though it's not as formal as a board of directors agreement. So in the show notes, I've included a copy of the agreement I wrote myself. Now, you should have yours checked by an attorney to make sure everything you're putting in the agreement is solid. Now, if you copy mine, All right, you do so at your own risk. I'm not an attorney, and I never played one on TV. All right, you got to have an agreement. Now, agendas. Now, each meeting you have should have an agenda and a specific amount of time allotted to that agenda item or the agenda items that are on the agenda. You really need to respect your board members' time. I had 90 minutes set aside for my first meeting, and we finished in 67 minutes. And even though we had a few minute technical glitch, we still finished early. And we met by Zoom, by the way, in case you're wondering. Now, my agenda had things like a welcome and thank you, expectations of the board members, remunerations, or what, of course, I was giving them as a thank you. I explained them. Introductions of all the board members, and we had each board member give their ideas. And one board member right off the bat increased the size of our market exponentially and had a way to reach them. Boom! That's what I'm talking about. That idea came from them. We picked the time and the date for the next meeting, and we each left with an action plan. So let me recap some of the benefits of advisory boards. You can reach markets you couldn't reach. You can get access to expertise that you may not have. You have sounding boards for ideas. You got help with strategy. You got help with business processes. And it's cheaper and way more invested than a consultant would be. So, this was a short episode, but I highly suggest you get the book Built to Scale: How Top Companies Create Breakthrough Growth Through Exceptional Advisory Boards by Marissa Levin. And see, if you can put together an advisory board to help grow your business, you can do it way faster, get that growth way faster than you could by yourself. Now, I'm going to do some update episodes in the future to let you know how my advisory board is doing and what I learned after actually running one for a while. And I invite you all to tell me how yours is doing, and maybe you'll get a shout out here on Screw the Commute podcast. Now, if you'd like someone to hold your hand through this and all the other things you need to know to be successful online, check out my mentor program. It's the longest running, most successful, and most unique of anything on earth. I mean, and I even have the longest, well, it used to be one of the top 3 longest internet seminars called Butt Camp, because I'm making so much money sitting on my rear end. I called it Butt Camp. Right? It caught on. I've done them all over the world. But there was about three major seminars at the time, and the other 2 are defunct. And I'm the only one that's still standing after all these years running a specific seminar. I think those guys are still around, but I don't know. I haven't heard much from them. But anyway, check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, and you'll see all the massive benefits you get. You might even get featured here on Screw the Commute when you're a member of my program. All right, everybody, I'll catch y'all on the next episode.